You probably think that the Cyclops were just big, dumb, hairy brutes with one eye and a taste for human flesh, but that's just Homeric propaganda. In fact, according to Hesiod, the Cyclops were big, hairy brutes with one eye who were handy at a forge. One can be sure at least that they had only one eye. Cyclops means round eye in Greek. But the two earliest Greek poets part way on a lot of the other details. Hesiod claims that the Cyclops were 3 in number and sons of Gaia and Uranus. Their father was no big fan of theirs, and smelling trouble, he saw to it that the Cyclops were safely chained up at a very young age. The Titan Kronos deduced that these muscular, round-eyed siblings of his might be of some aid when it came to take power. He freed the Cyclops, only to cast them down into Tartarus once he was safely in power. Was ever a trio so grievously used? Happily, Zeus proved to be more grateful after liberating them to help him overthrow the Titans. In that rebellion, and afterwards, the Cyclops applied their skill to hammer out Zeus's thunderbolts, his deadliest weapon. For good measure, they fashioned Hades' cap of invisibility and Poseidon's awesome trident. Alas, for all of this loyal service, they would meet their end at Apollo's hands, after Zeus used a thunderbolt to strike down the sun god's son. Homer's Cyclops, though also gigantic and one-eyed, were altogether different and far more numerous. Where they came from and exactly where they lived, the poet does not say, though later writers made Sicily their home. These Cyclops, not particularly civilized or inventive, were shepherds, feeding off the raw meat of their flocks despite being smart enough to build a fire. Agriculture was way out of their reach. When the opportunity presented itself, they would also indulge their taste for human flesh, and one day a big opportunity arrived in the form of the hero Odysseus and his crew. This windfall befell the Cyclops named Polyphemus, a son of Poseidon and something of a loner. When Polyphemus spies the Greeks who had recklessly ventured into a cave, he demands to know their business. Odysseus, after bragging a bit about his military exploits, begs for much-needed provisions. Polyphemus responds by grabbing 2 Greeks, dashing them on the ground, and eating them. He imprisons the rest in his cave, making a meal out of another 4 before Odysseus manages to drive a huge, smoldering poker in the drunken, dozing Cyclops' eye. Polyphemus runs crying to his compatriots, blaming his distress on No Man, the phony name that Odysseus had shrewdly given him. "If no man hurts you," they reply, "then your plight must be the will of Zeus. So be it." Polyphemus gropes his way back to the cave and rolls away the stone, hoping to slaughter his persecutors. But the Greeks cleverly escape by clinging to the bellies of the sheep as they file out of the cave. The joke would have been on Polyphemus if Odysseus, back on his ship with his men, hadn't felt it necessary to taunt the monster, boasting of his wit and revealing his true name. Being Poseidon's son, the Cyclops did have some recourse. He begged his father to make Odysseus' trip home a torture, and the sea god responds with a vengeance. But this isn't the Greeks' last word on the Cyclops. Blending some of the details of Homer's and Hesiod's stories, they depict the round eyes as being servants of the fire god Hephaestus in his workshop beneath Mount Etna on Sicily. Some writers claim that these Cyclops had built, out of stones whose proportions defied human strength, the great prehistoric walls and fortifications that the Greeks found in ruins. This detail may owe something to Hesiod's claim that the Cyclops had 3 brothers by Uranus and Gaia named the Hecatonchires, or the 100 Handers, each of them having 50 heads and mighty invincible strength. If there's anyone I'd less rather meet in a dark alley than a Cyclops, it would be one of these guys.